this morning on a Tuesday, we saw a really good fight out of Japan, bro. It was an amazing fight for me. The Monster versus the Nightmare turned out to be a competitive affair, just like I thought it was going to be, man. You saw the fight as well. I actually missed it early, man. You woke up right on time. We were going to try to watch it at the same time. My alarm didn't go off, bro.
I woke up even earlier. I woke up at 4:45 trying to get this live started. People, it's more complicated than you think, man. I mean, I know how to do it. You don't just want to jump right into it. You don't want to look like an asshole. But it is what it is. Yeah, this morning was really good. The 122 Undisputed was answered this morning. Inoue won it. He's the undisputed 122 champ. Not to say that Tapales didn't give it the old college try, though, man. He really, really impressed me. This morning, Tapales probably fought the best fight of his career. He really went out there and tried everything, David. We were discussing it earlier, man. He really did. He tried everything. He tried boxing him. He tried pressuring the guy. Paid a lot of attention to his defense this time around. We kind of always said he was a little bit sloppy with his defense, not to be mean or anything, but his defense was on point. His high guard was just there. But when Inoue would, it seems like every time Tapales was just finding his rhythm and doing something good, like feinting, hitting him, cracking him to the body, Inoue would eventually find a way to counter that and then demolish whatever he was trying. So he'd go on to something else, like boxing him, pressuring him, smothering his punches, getting him into the corner. I mean, it seemed like he tried everything and he had success doing everything. It's just that when he landed his punches, David, it didn't seem to bother him at all, right?
No, he had this almost a stone cold face. He doesn't change his expression, as you were mentioning that. Very much like Barrera back in the day. You remember Barrera? His facial expression never changed either. So it's hard to tell what they're thinking or, hey, did that get him? Did that hurt him? You don't know. They don't really show it. I mean, just Tapales was landing punches where you're thinking to yourself, that has to hurt, but it doesn't show, right? So
yeah, it doesn't show a
doesn't
smile,
show
a grin, a wince, nothing.
Nothing. He doesn't give you nothing. His eyebrows don't ever move. Oh man, I agree, bro. I think if Marlon Tapales was in that ring with any other 122 pounder in the world, he wins that fight. I thought he gave a great account of himself. I think he pushed Inoue harder than anybody since Nonito Donaire in 2019. You're gonna have some people that say Inoue didn't look good because Tapales did give him problems, but I think that's not a criticism against Inoue. That's because of Marlon Tapales. He's a good fighter, and you and I called this as soon as we heard the fight was going to be announced right after Inoue beat Fulton. We looked at Marlon Tapales. We took a good look at him, and we said, "Hey, this guy can fight, man." We both expected a competitive fight, so this wasn't a surprise for us. But just to go back to the fight, man, I was really impressed with this fight with both fighters. There were a lot of adjustments made, a lot of high level boxing taking place, and they gave you a little bit of everything. There was toe to toe action. You saw countering in the pocket. You saw good movement around the ring, and always flash some good foot movement in some parts of the fight, just showing you an extra wrinkle he has if he needs to go there. And you also saw a lot of heart, man, from Marlon Tapales, man. That guy was taking some crazy hard shots. I mean, the Japanese crowds are known for being kind of emotionless, but when punches were being landed by Inoue, and you could hear, they didn't cheer, they kind of gasped when Marlon was getting hit. So Marlon showed a lot of heart, man. Mark, Inoue's done it. He's at the top of the mountain at 122 pounds. What do you think is next for him?
Well, we heard that he's going to stay at 122, right? I mean, I'd like to see him against the best at 122 right now. MJ, who lost to Tapales, had a little comeback victory against Chacal, Jay Panda's fighter. I'd like to see him against MJ. I'd also maybe like to see him against Junto Nakatani. We were talking about him. I know he's at 118, but he's 25 years old, and he's a really, really big kid. I think he's taller than Inoue. I don't know. Inoue's pretty tall, but He is taller than Inoue. Maybe he's at 120. No, he's at 118. If he can come up, maybe at the end of the year next year, he could be a possibility for him as well. Who'd you like to see him against?
Yeah, I've heard that Luis Neri is next in May, so that's going to take place. I like that you brought up MJ. I think that would be a good fight. MJ would have been the opponent earlier today had he beat
Right.
or had he not been upset by Tapales in their previous fight. MJ is definitely looking for the winner of this fight. Obviously, Neri is next for Inoue. A good fight for MJ to be in between would be Tapales, but I'm with you, man. I think Tapales is going to need some time off after this fight and kind of take some time to recover.
Yeah.
Because he was taking some monstrous shots from the monster.
Yeah, it didn't look too like gruesome of a fight, but those punches that he took to the body and to the
They were
head, man,
heavy.
those were heavy fights, heavy punches. The head needs to rest after a fight like that. But David, what's it gonna take, man? What's it gonna take to beat this guy, man? We just saw the best Tapales we've ever seen. I mean, he did everything, the smothering. We talked about it, all the different styles. He landed some grenades to the body of Inoue. And I
And the
mean,
head.
what's he gonna take? Yeah, I mean, we could probably both say Tapales. If this Tapales fights anybody at 122, this Tapales, he has improved tremendously since the MJ fight. But what's it gonna take, man? What's it gonna take to beat Inoue? I mean, this guy did everything. All of his styles had some success, and it still didn't break through the monster. What's it gonna take?
I gotta tell you, man, I don't know. I think he's just eventually gonna get to a division that's too big for him. But interestingly enough, I think Tapad has laid out a little bit of a blueprint. Inoue can be hit. He does have lapses in the ring where either he's not he's gonna take an opponent that he can respect in there. And while Tapales is heavy-handed, I just think his power wasn't enough to make Inoue really respect him because once Inoue got clipped, he's kind of a perfectionist. He doesn't like getting hit. Nobody likes getting hit, but he didn't seem to mind it as much. And he never gave Tapales that much. The most respect he showed him was at the beginning of the fight for those first 2 rounds. And I think after he tasted Tapales' power, he wasn't concerned with it. So it's going to take somebody that can back Inoue up, not go toe-to-toe with him for too long, and be able to fight on the back foot when needed, and someone that has a really strong punch. MJ is one of those guys who's a bit more savvy in the ring. He has some of Tapales' savviness. He does some really interesting things in the ring, and he's got power. So it's either going to be a really strong puncher at 122 or somebody that's just bigger and good for Inoue to have trouble. Because, man, this guy is special. He's very, very special, Mark.
Keep in mind, he's the fastest to get 2 divisions undisputed in 1 year. And we were talking earlier, we don't think that record will ever be broken, right?
Absolutely
Explain
not.
to the people why we think this record cannot be broken.
Well, I mean, think about it. Right now, there are fighters who never go undisputed their entire careers.
Right.
So this guy's done it twice within a year span. Last December is when he beat, Paul Butler for the 118-pound championship. He unified all the titles at 118 just 12 months ago. And then he's already unified them again in 2 fights. So that's really, really special. There are fighters that go their whole careers without doing this. I don't think it's ever going to be broken.
Yeah, this is one of those records that is, I mean, damn near impossible to break. I would be surprised if we see it broken in the next 10 years. I mean, even with all the
Yeah.
belts that they have,
Yeah.
I don't think that that'll happen again
Well,
in
that's
a
going to be
long time. That's
that's
the
part
only
of why
advantage. Yeah.
that's part of why it's not going to happen, Mark. There are too many belts to acquire in order to become
Yeah.
undisputed. So
Yeah, man. Wow. That's pretty special that we got to see that these last few years because, like you said, more belts waters down the talent, and we'll probably never see that again.
All right, Mark. Well, shit, that's it, man. Hell of a fight. I'm really happy to see it. That was my late Christmas gift. I'm down with that. I could do that every year, man.
Thank you guys for joining us. It was a hell of a fight. Merry Christmas, everybody. Please keep subscribing, hit them likes, and leave a comment. We'll see you next time.
Putazos y Pendejadas Podcast.